Alright, so this is my week 24 NBA Power Rankings. Let's get started. Starting off here with our injuries. Not a whole lot to go over here. Some guys, again, getting shut down for the season. But we do get some guys back, like Jalen Brunson's back, Bradley Beal's back. Other than that, you can look at this yourself. Our top performances, you guys can look at this yourself here too. But moving on from there, we have the Utah Jazz here at number 30. They went 0-3 this week. They have now lost 9 straight games. They're not a very good team. I think we all already kind of know that. They lost to the Rockets, Pacers, and Hawks this week. Next up is the 76ers. They went 0-4 this week, have lost 12 straight games. Really bad there as well. They lost to the Knicks, Bucks, Timberwolves, and Heat, who are 4 pretty good teams, but they're on a 12-game losing streak. They can't be any higher than 29 at this point. Number 28 is the Charlotte Hornets. They went 0-3 this week, sitting at the 14 seed in the East. They lost to the Pacers, the Kings, and the Bulls this week. Next up is the New Orleans Pelicans at 27. They dropped 1 spot here. After going 0-3 themselves, they lost to the Clippers, Lakers, and the Bucks. 26 is the Washington Wizards. They're going to actually jump up 2 spots. They did win a game this week, so that's why they jump up. They beat the Sacramento Kings, and they lost to the Magic and the Celtics. Next up, we got the Brooklyn Nets. They went 0-2, are the 12th seed in the East. Eliminated from playoff contention. They dropped 1 spot here after losing to the Timberwolves and the Toronto Raptors. 24, we're going to have the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to jump up 1 spot actually after winning 1 game this week, going 1-3. They beat the Denver Nuggets. They also lost to the Magic, the Cavs, and the Portland Trailblazers. 23, we have the Toronto Raptors, who are now officially eliminated from playoff contention. They went 1-3 this week. Not great, obviously. Lost to the Bulls, the Blazers, and the Pistons, and they did beat the Brooklyn Nets. 22 is the Atlanta Hawks. They're going to drop 4 spots. They went 1-3 this week. Obviously, not very good. They played the Blazers, Mavs, and Knicks and lost all of those 3 games. And then they did beat the Utah Jazz, but Jazz are pretty bad. The Hawks are sitting at an 8 seed right now. Number 21 is the Phoenix Suns, also dropping 4 spots. They went 0-3 this week against the Bucks, Celtics, and Knicks. They did play 3 good teams, but they lost them all. They did get Bradley Beal back, but not really going to help them out too much, honestly. Number 20 is the Portland Trailblazers. They're going to actually jump up 2 spots after going 3-1. They are eliminated from playoff contention already, but if they were in the Eastern Conference, that would be a different story. They beat the Hawks, the Raptors, and the Spurs, and their only loss was against the Chicago Bulls. Number 19, we find the Dallas Mavericks here staying at the same spot. They went 1-2 this week, beat the Hawks, but then lost to the Clippers twice. But they also did get Derek Lively back from injury, which hopefully can help them out here for a play-in run that they are probably going to go on. Number 18, we have the Miami Heat dropping 2 spots. They went 2-2 this week, have now dropped to a 10 seed, but they have clinched at the very least a play-in spot. They beat the Celtics and the 76ers, but they lost to the Grizzlies and the Bucks. Number 17 is the Chicago Bulls, moving up 3 spots after going 3-0 for themselves. They're the 9th seed right now in the Eastern Conference. This week they beat the Raptors, the Blazers, and the Hornets. 3 pretty bad teams, but 3 wins they really, really needed if they want to be a top 7 or 8 seed potentially in the Eastern Conference. Number 16 is the Sacramento Kings. They're going to jump up 5 spots. They went 3-1 this week, are the 9th seed at the moment. They played some tough teams in here as well. The Kings, if I can find them real quick for you, they beat the Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. They also beat the Hornets, but they did lose to the Washington Wizards. Number 15 is the Orlando Magic. They went 2-0 this week, pretty solid, sitting at a 7 seed right now. And the Magic beat the Spurs and the Wizards this week. Number 14, we find the Detroit Pistons dropping 2 spots, going 1-3 this week. Obviously not ideal. They did play good teams. They lost to the Thunder, the Grizzlies, and the Kings, and they beat the Toronto Raptors. Number 13, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. They went 2-1 this week. Are the 8th seed right now in the West, but as we'll get into a little bit later, they're in a 4-way tie in the Western Conference. They lost to the Warriors this week, but they beat the Heat and the Pistons. Number 12 is the Milwaukee Bucks, moving up 2 spots after having a 4-0 week. They beat the Suns, Sixers, Heat, and Pelicans. Definitely a needed win streak here for Milwaukee. Number 11, we have the Denver Nuggets, who are kind of the opposite right now. They went 0-4 this week. Definitely not ideal with how tight the Western Conference race is here. They lost to the Timberwolves, the Spurs, the Warriors, and the Pacers. Number 10 is going to be the Indiana Pacers. They went 3-0 this week, including a win over the Denver Nuggets, like I just mentioned. They also beat the Hornets and the Utah Jazz. Number 9 is going to be the New York Knicks, jumping up 2 spots. They went 3-1 this week, pretty good, sitting at a 3 seed right now. Also got Jalen Brunson back from injury. They lost to the Cavs this week, but they beat the Sixers, the Hawks, and the Phoenix Suns. Number 8 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They jump up 1 spot after having a 3-0 week, sitting at the 7th seed right now, but again, they're in a 4-way tie. They beat the Denver Nuggets in double overtime, beat the Brooklyn Nets, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Number 7 is going to be the Los Angeles Lakers. They went 2-1 this week, and they stay at the exact same spot. They lost to the Warriors, but then they beat the Pelicans and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have been the best team in the NBA through the last couple of weeks. Number 6, Golden State Warriors, jumping up 2 spots, went 3-1 this week, really good. Had the win over the Lakers, so I feel like they should have jumped them. They also beat good teams in the Grizzlies and Nuggets, and their only loss was against a really good Houston Rockets team. Number 5 is the Los Angeles Clippers, jumping up 1 spot after having a 3-0 week. They beat the Pelicans, the Mavs, and the Mavs again, and they have jumped up now to the 5 seed in the Western Conference. Number 4 is the Houston Rockets, staying at the exact same spot. They did go 3-0 this week with the wins against the Jazz, the Thunder, and the Warriors, but I could not move them up. Number 3 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They did just lose to the Rockets, but I feel like, they're still good enough that if I cannot have them any lower than number 3 right now. They also lost to the Los Angeles Lakers, and they beat the Detroit Pistons. Number 2 is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. They went 2-1 this week, losing to the Kings, but they beat the Knicks and the Spurs. And then number 1 currently is going to be the Boston Celtics. They went 2-1 this week, only losing to the Miami Heat, and they beat the Phoenix Suns and the Washington Wizards. Now looking at the award races right now, I'll get out of the way. The MVP is pretty much wrapped up. It's only between Shea and Jokic. The other ones, I'll go over the leader. You guys can read the rest if you so feel like it. But Stephon Castle is the leading Rookie of the Year. Dyson Daniels is the leading Most Improved Player. Peyton Pritchard is the leading Sixth Man of the Year. Jalen Brunson is the leading Clutch Player of the Year. Kenny Atkinson is the leading Coach of the Year. And Draymond Green is the leading Defensive Player of the Year. Now we're going to go over a very, very interesting playoff race here. So looking at the standings in the Eastern Conference, the Cavs have pretty much locked up the 1 seed. Celtics pretty much locked up the 2 seed. And Knicks pretty much locked up the 3 seed. Pacers, 3 games below New York, 3 games above Milwaukee. They could have some movement, but again, I think they pretty much locked up that 4 spot. Now for the Milwaukee Bucks, they're only 1.5 games above the 6-seeded Pistons, so I think those 2 teams could very easily swap places, but I don't see the Bucks jumping ahead of the Indiana Pacers. Pistons can't go any lower than 6, so again, it's just them and Milwaukee trying to fight for positioning. And now 7 through 10, Magic are only 1 game above the Hawks, who are 1 game above the Bulls, who are half a game above the Heat. So only 2.5 games separating all 4 of those teams. Really would not be surprised of any order between any of those 4 teams going forward. Now in the Western Conference, you got a little bit more tricky here. Thunder are the 1 seed, locked that up a while ago. The Rockets, 3.5 games above the Lakers. There's only 3 and 4 games remaining, so pretty much locked up the 2 seed. The Lakers, 1.5 games above the 4 seed, two games above the 5 seed. I don't foresee them dropping anywhere below 3, honestly, but they could drop all the way as far as 8 because they're only 2.5 games above the 8 seed. Now, number 4 is the Denver Nuggets, who are, again, 1.5 games behind the Lakers, but they're only half a game above the 5-seeded Clippers, and also only half a game above the 8-seeded Memphis Grizzlies. Nuggets are currently on a 4-game losing streak, and if they lose, 2 more of their next 4 games, if they lose 2 of the next 3 games remaining, they could fall all the way down to an 8 seed, which is obviously very, very troubling. Now, again, 5 through 8, Clippers, Warriors, Timberwolves, Grizzlies all have the exact same record with 4 games remaining. Any of those teams could very easily end up between number 4 and number 8, which is obviously very, very big difference. They could have home field advantage, or they could have to play a play-in game. Now you're looking at the Kings and Mavericks and the Suns down there. Kings have a 1-game lead over the Mavericks and a 3.5-game lead over the Suns. I don't think the Kings are going to be able to drop below the Suns unless they lose out and the Suns also win out. Now the Suns and Mavericks are only 2 games away, so the Suns don't have to win out, and they don't need the Mavericks to lose out, but they can only lose 1 game, and the Mavericks can only win 1 game. So it's pretty much going to be locked up, I think, the Kings and Mavericks here at the number 9 and 10 seeds, but I very well could see them swapping positions from where they stand right now. Thank you for watching. That's going to be it for this video. Make sure to check back next week for a playoff power rankings, and goodbye.